Welcome to another episode of The Death of Art. We're now in the late part of 2020. Entertainment's non-existent. A few art galleries that are open are doing it in a very odd social distanced way. There are no openings to speak of. So we have to think a little bit outside the box to find art, and what better place than a graveyard? The beauty of a graveyard is that you have centuries of individuals thinking about the last message they're going to leave to the world. So they design their own tombs, or they get designers to design their tombs with their own ideas. So in a way, it's a very personal, individual kind of art that appears here and there. Now, many of them are just plain cookie cutter, simple tombs, but many of the other ones just go way outside of any expected idea of a tombstone, and you end up with brilliant little acts of genius sometimes. And also, some of them can be quite a disaster as well. We'll see them both. You look at things like this. I can't recall ever seeing this beautiful shape on a tombstone. Does it mean anything? Is it just a design choice? You can really drive yourself crazy with the iconography in graveyards, because depending on which culture you're in, whether you're Jewish, Christian, the same, say, vase pouring water means two completely different things, as they mean different things in different eras. So you look at something like this, you might get to the bottom of it, or there might not be any reason. But that's the beauty of this. There's a real mystery. They must have put dozens of rivets in there. It's almost like they're trying to keep the person from getting back out. I noticed that with a lot of these things. They have these incredibly strong doors. It's almost like they're more designed to keep people in than keeping other people out. Mute animals share his compassionate bounty. This is a beautiful piece of descriptive art in that here you have a guy beating a horse and an angel coming out with her hand up, stopping him from beating his horse. I mean, it's great because anybody can understand it. Here we have an awesome, awesome tomb. It's simple, it tells his life story. In fact, I want you to guess, what do you think this guy did in life? Was he a government official? Did he own a string of bars in Canarsie? Did he sell fish? Did he own ships? No, this guy was an Egyptologist. And here is his whole sort of worldview as symbolically he wanted people to see him. You have a sphinx. You have this mysterious object over here that's missing. I tend to think it was a bronze solar symbol that was apparently recently stolen. Now, just in case people might remember him as some pagan-loving digger-upper of graves, he did put the Virgin Mary, the baby Jesus. Here you have either Jesus again holding the lamb or possibly Joseph, I'm not sure. And you have the crucified Jesus. He wanted to be clear, hey, I like digging up graves in foreign lands, but I'm a really good Christian. But maybe not all the way, because if you come over here, this to me more looks like a Western interpretation of Isis with the baby Horus. Although she's not bolt upright like she's usually depicted as being, although sometimes she's seated. It's done in Western style. Really seems to be a nod that, hey, the Virgin Mary and Jesus, this is just another version of Horus and Isis. They're pretty much syncretic. And Horus, of course, is a solar deity, hence the solar signs that you saw in the doorway and the missing one on the outside. But who knows? We are at the highest point in Brooklyn. This is the absolute top of Brooklyn. Nothing gets higher than this. In the distance, you can see the Statue of Liberty. And our forefathers chose this spot to send us a very specific message. Most people don't know that the Statue of Liberty was actually designed earlier as Isis to guard the Suez Canal. After that project fell through, the whole project was moved to New York Harbor, and we got a pseudo-Isis and called it Liberty because we're a Christian nation. Just like Egypt was a Muslim nation, they wouldn't accept a pagan god. So we're calling her Liberty. On this hill, we have now an altar to Liberty. But Isis has changed. or the Statue of Liberty has changed. She no longer has the 7-pointed stars, which are the symbol of Inanna, of Isis, even of our Roman emperors. She now has the trappings of a Roman centurion. There is death imagery all over it. There's serpents. There is the Sphinx. And this is purely pagan, purely warlike, and purely a symbol of where we're going in our future. And this is not really much of a mystery. This is very, very clear. They're telling us something. And I love art like this. They're giving us a message, however dark. Excuse me, kind sir. I want you to explain to me this strange array of grave goods. And these are grave goods. These are not grave decorations. Each of these, I suspect, has some sort of meaning to the altar to liberty, to Minerva here, in there? In a shot glass. And are these teeth?
And who have we got down here? Our old friend Jesus Christ, sneaking around in the background there.
I wonder what's written on that piece of paper. Dare we open it?
Oh, I don't know. Jesus is like kind of protecting it.
So I'm just going to sneak this note out of here. And I'm not trying to disturb any of the fine grave goods. Okay. Do this quick, and then we're going to put it back, and it's like nothing ever happened. All right, you are strong, independent, and beautiful. All the hurt you are feeling will be healed with your strength. You will gain your confidence, back, and you will flourish with beauty. You will aid others in their battles, and you will feel victorious. Okay, so clearly, this is all about war.
Evidently, he died young. He looks like Rob Halford before people realized they were actually watching a Leatherman on stage, you know? They thought it was just metal.
We have found art, the statue to virtue. The whole point of this was to represent civic virtue. Originally, this huge statue stood in City Hall Park, which is the seat of the New York City government. It was erected around 1922. It was immediately considered to be sexist even back then. I mean, it's not the naked male body, but the women that he is tromping on are depicted as like part sea creatures and very corruptible. Anyway, long story short, LaGuardia, who was a mayor of New York City, finally just got tired of looking at his naked bum and said, get this thing out of my park. Eventually it ended up in Brooklyn in a graveyard. So I think the message of this whole thing is, if you're a sculptor and you really fuck up, this is where it ends up. It's really quite an awful piece, but it also has a level of magnificence.
Right, well, I mean, that's his interpretation, but I see somebody predicting COVID many years in the future. And when it first came out, you remember everyone bought up big on toilet paper. This guy's like, what's he wiping his ass on? Is it a bird? Is it a snake? They use anything as toilet paper. And this woman, she's covering his nose, she's covering his mouth in a desperate attempt not to get COVID.
I have to ask, what the hell is this? I'm thinking of Alexander Calder, but not really. This is a smiley face.
No, but the thing at the
and then
bottom
there's
kind of
smiley
spoiled.
faces all around. I mean, what do you make of this?
Smiling, happy hands make the world go round.
All right, guys, we found something really special. This is a Japanese grave. It's still smoldering. It's absolutely beautiful. The thought and elegance with which this thing is laid out is just incomparable. And it's all temporary. This is going to rot and go back to the earth in no time. Again, another amazing, amazing, just little vignette of what humans do with creativity.
We've got an angel leaning on the garbage can here. Someone's left us some honey.
This is one of the most fucked up sculptures in all of Greenwood Cemetery. This is Azrael, Angel of Death. And oddly enough, it was created by the brother of the guy that designed all of the sculptures in Mount Rushmore. I can only imagine what this probably little brother of this guy that created Mount Rushmore's life was about. But the interesting thing about this is, if you actually come under here and follow me here, you see an evil little face. It's amazing. You could scour the openings in art galleries all of New York, but you're not going to find anything quite this good, usually. The last 30 years of art have been really fantastic, but Basquiat has been centered around this whole art scene. He's been a sort of a gyre. And here we are, fittingly, left in Basquiat's grave. As you see, there are grave goods. Somebody lit this candle in the last few days. It's still burning. And Basquiat, brother, wherever you are, I'm sure you don't have cash. So, God bless.
In the afterlife, it's hard to get good paint supplies. So now Basquiat is using the primitive watercolors of a child. But he could probably even surprise you with what he could create with such meager tools. Lighters, I don't know what he does with the lighters. I think he used to smoke crack in his lifetime. Perhaps they have really good crack in the afterlife. You could point your finger at him and say that's not the way to go, but he's the one selling paintings for millions of dollars. Perhaps we could all use a little bit of crack to inspire us sometimes. Yoink.
Please like, please subscribe, and please ring the bell.